So we've got a pretty big day today because we've spent what, almost 2 weeks on multiplicative comparisons in class. And so far we've seen a bunch in Fantastic Five, but we've really focused in our math class on three specific types. We've done the type where you had the big number, but we had to figure out the small number. And then there's times where we kind of flipped that, where we were given the small number and we had to figure out the big number. And then yesterday, we kind of had something a little bit different, which we have not even seen in Fantastic Five, where I gave you the big and the small number, but you had to figure out how many times greater that big number was than that small number. Either way, either type of multiplicative comparison problem, you can still solve all of them using the box method, which I've been telling you in class, I've been telling you in the videos all along. It's my preferred method. It's not the way you have to do it, but I'm telling you, if you read the questions and you do it, it doesn't miss. It's really consistent. It can help you get the right answers. So you're going to have a quiz on all three of those today. And the quiz is going to have them mixed up where you're going to really have to read the question. You're not going to use the same exact strategy with the box method every single one. You got to look at the information that it's given you and then apply the box method as best you can. So what I want to do is, in class, we're going to look at just a real small, real short quizzes, and I think there might be 6 questions on here. That gives us a chance to see 2 of each. We're going to have 2 where we have the large number, 2 where we have the small number, and then 2 where we have to figure out how many times greater that big number is. So I'm actually just going to do all the talking here, and you're more than welcome to, when you see a question, pause the video and try to solve it on your own if that's something you want to do. If you're more comfortable just watching, seeing how I do it, so you can do that on your quiz, that's fine as well. But play again is just, yeah, that's me. Oh gosh, how do I turn the music off? Perfect. All right, so I don't have a whole lot of room to work here, but I've got plenty to where I can kind of do my box method stuff. So it says the bakery sold 28 peanut butter cookies and 7 sugar cookies in an hour. How many times more were peanut butter cookies sold than sugar cookies in an hour? So I can read that and see I've been given the big number, I've been given the small number, I've got to figure out how many times more. So this is kind of like the questions that we did yesterday, where it doesn't tell me so-and-so had this times as many. That's usually where I get my picture from. So I'm going to have to do a little bit different work on this one, but it should look familiar from the video I provided you yesterday. So let's do this. Let me see. If I see the words times, how many times more, that right there tells me I'm doing my multiplicative comparisons. It tells me I'm comparing something. And in this case, it's peanut butter cookies to sugar cookies. So I would put a P and I would put an S. So again, since it doesn't tell us how many times more or how many times as many, we don't know who's going to get the big number of boxes. But since we have both the big number and the small number, I know who's automatically going to get that 1 box. That's going to be the sugar cookies because it has a smaller number. So I can put the 1 box beside sugar, and I can go ahead and put that 7 in there. All right. So now I still have to use the other piece of information that it gave me, which in this case is it told me there's 28 peanut butter cookies. That doesn't mean 28 boxes. That just means however many boxes I have has got to be equal to 28 for peanut butter. So I know that the boxes have 7 in each. Here I could either really know my facts and instantly know how many boxes I need to put on there, or I could kind of just list my multiples. Like I could list 1 box and put 7. I know that wouldn't be enough. All right, if I list another box, 7 more would give me 14. Still not enough. Why are people calling me? Mr. Huber? Yeah, I'll come down there. Thanks, bye. All right, I've never done this before. Let me see if I can pause this and just come back to it. I don't know what I'm doing. Pause. All right, I should be back. All right, I think I'm back. All right, let's get back to it. Sorry about that. Dude, no way did it delete my picture. All right, get it together, Mr. Huber. All right, so I'm just going to draw exactly what I had on there. Peanut butter, sugar, 7 equal to 28. I think I got up to 2 boxes. All right, so again, my picture's got to be equal to 28. I do another box of 7. That would get me to 21. Got to draw another box. Once I do that 4th box of 7, there's my 28 peanut butter cookies. And again, when I want to know how many times more, all I got to do is count how many boxes that I just put beside peanut butter. And that would have been 4, which would have been this choice right here. Again, y'all, if you can look at that problem and know your facts well enough to where you know 7 times 4 gets you 28, that makes this a lot easier. But again, box method is at least a good way to check it. Ooh, fancy sound. So hot right now. Whatever. That's right. That's right. All right. Next question. Sydney scored 10 points in the game. Brenda scored 3 times as much as Sydney. How many points did Brenda score in the game? So in this one, we got the small number. We've got to figure out the bigger number. But I still see 3 times as much, which tells me I've got to do my box method. So what am I comparing here? I've got Sydney's points, Brenda's points. I'm going to pull them both out. S for Sydney, B for Brenda. Now for this one, we know what our picture is going to look like because it says Brenda scored 3 times as much, meaning Brenda's going to get 3 boxes and Sydney would get 1. So now I'm going to use the information that it gave us. It says Sydney scored 10 points in the game. Well, Sydney only has 1 box, and I know automatically her box is going to have 10, and all of Brenda's boxes are going to have 10 as well. 10. So the question says, how many points did Brenda score? So Brenda's going to get that star. I could do 10 plus 10 plus 10. I could go 10 times 3. Either way you did the math, that answer should be 30, which would have been here. Those are the ones that we started actually with last week, and I feel pretty good about those. I think you guys probably do too. All right, 3rd question. It says a sweater costs 6 times as much as a shirt. A shirt costs $10. What is the cost of the sweater? So again, just like the last one, we've got the smaller number. We've got to figure out what the larger number is. Large number unknown. But I know that I'm comparing the cost of the sweater and the shirt. So I'll do SW for sweater. I'll just do S for shirt. And since it says a sweater costs 6 times as much as a shirt, sweater gets 6 boxes. And a shirt gets 1. Very similar to the last question. If it says that a shirt costs $10 and the shirt only has 1 box, I instantly know that that box has 10 and every other box has 10 as well. Trying really hard to squeeze those 10s in there. So all those boxes have 10. If it wants to know what's the cost of a sweater, all I gotta do is look at that picture. You can count by 10s, you can multiply, you can add. Either way you do it, you should have gotten 60 for that one just by looking at the picture. If you're choosing, well, look, 10's not even an answer choice, so they're not even going to let you make a reading mistake on that one. But for the sweater, that one would have been $60. Ooh, fancy. What's this? Get a second chance after an incorrect answer? We don't need that. I don't want that. I don't want this power up. All right. So question number 4, this says Kyle runs 5 miles, Amanda runs 15 miles. Amanda runs how many times more than Kylie? Is that Kylie? I think I said Kyle. So here, you've got the small number, you've got the big number. You're trying to figure out how many times as many. You have to figure out what the picture is going to look like because it doesn't give you the big number of boxes. But I do know I'm comparing the difference in miles between Kylie and Amanda. So even though it doesn't say a number times more, I can automatically give Kylie 1 box because she has the smaller number. And I also know that her box is going to have 5 miles inside because That's the only piece of information he gave me for Kyle, and she's only got one box. Kylie, she's only got one box to split it in between. If Kylie's boxes have 5, Amanda's boxes have to have 5. And all I know is Amanda's picture's got to be equal to 15 miles. So if I draw one box, obviously I know that's not going to be enough. Add another box on there, that's going to give me 10 miles, getting closer. Add that third box, that's going to give me my 15 miles. And to figure out how many times more, all I'd have to do for this one, where it gives me both the big and the small number, count my number of boxes, which is 3. Or guys, you could very easily just look at that question and say, ooh, I know 5 times 3 gives me 15, which would be your answer. Having a nice day. That's pretty good. All right, so we got 2 more. Now, both of these should actually be the same. This should be providing us with the big number. We got to figure out the small number. And I like these a lot because I think these pictures are the most difficult to draw. I'll explain that in just a second. It says, Kenny made 24 chocolate cupcakes, which was 4 times as many as strawberry cupcakes. How many strawberry cupcakes did he make? So we've got our big number. We see 4 times as many. We know we're doing a multiplicative comparison. So I'm going to pull out chocolate and strawberry because that's what's being compared. So it doesn't flat out say chocolate cupcakes has 4 times as many or strawberry has 4 times as many. It says which. Sometimes it'll say that. You've got to know what it's referring to when it says those. But guys, if you just read it, kind of how it flows, it all makes sense. Kenny made 24 chocolate cupcakes, which was 4 times as many as strawberry. Now that which, it wouldn't make sense for it to represent strawberry, because would you ever say that strawberry had 4 times as many as strawberry? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't make sense. So we know that chocolate cupcakes are going to get the 4 boxes, and strawberry is going to automatically get 1. The only other piece of information that it gave me was that there are 24 chocolate cupcakes. That doesn't mean that I put 24 in each box, but that does mean that this picture is going to be equal to 24. So now what you do with that 24 is depending on what it has to do with. That 24 only represents chocolate. So I've got to split those 24 cupcakes by 4. Because again, it's got nothing to do with strawberry. If you know your facts, this gets pretty easy. 24 divided by 4 would give you 6, which means there's 6 in each box. The question's asking how many strawberry cupcakes did he make? All you got to do is look at your picture and see that you would have 6. So the math isn't any harder on those. It's just coming down to, are you drawing your picture correctly? And the last one should be very similar to that. It says the dog weighs 18 pounds. The dog weighs 6 times as much as the ferret. How much does the ferret weigh? So that was actually worded pretty good for you guys. We see 6 times as much. Oh, goodness. I'll get back to that. We saw 6 times as much. We know we're doing a multiplicative comparison problem, and we know we're comparing the dog's weight and the ferret's weight. So here's the dog, here's the ferret, and they made this picture easy for you because it says the dog weighs 6 times as much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ferret automatically gets 1. And now we just got to use that last piece of information that it gave us. It says the dog weighs 18 pounds. Perfect. Those boxes are equal to 18. So now I got to split those 18 pounds between those boxes, but only the dog's boxes because it has nothing to do with the ferret. So I would do 18 divided by 6, which would mean that every single one of those boxes is going to be equal to 3, which means the ferret's box is equal to 3. And if it wants to know how much the ferret weighs, that would be your answer. So I kind of feel like I went through that a little bit quickly, but it's all review. 2 of those questions being exactly what we talked about yesterday. You've seen them in Fam 5 a couple weeks in a row. You've got the videos, or you guys were in class last week, so you got to see them in person. So for the quiz, and I've got it right next to me. There's 10 questions on there, and they're all mixed. It's not going to be an even number of this, that, and this. It's going to be those 3 types of multiplicative comparison problems. You've got to read it to figure out what it's going to look like. So If you need to maybe go back to previous announcements and watch those videos, if you want to go back and watch yesterday's video, guys, you can do that. You've got all day to get this done. So I want you to make sure you're as comfortable as possible with the content because you've already done the Fam 5 quiz. This is the only thing you're going to do for the rest of math. So I want you to take your time because you've got plenty of it. So hopefully this short little video helped. And guys, we're not even done with multiplicative comparisons yet. After this quiz, we still got two more types of multiplicative comparisons to talk about. So it's a lot, and I warned you it was going to be a lot, but you're doing really well. So I'm pretty optimistic with the future, and we're going to test on these in about a week or two. So fingers crossed on that. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck. Use the box method.